Check 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Check 1 2. Press conference audio check. Test 1 2. Check 1 2. Testing testing. Check 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 check. Testing testing testing. 1 2 3 4. Press conference audio check 1 2 3 4. Check 1 2. Test 1 2. Lip sync test. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3 4. Press conference audio lip sync test. Check 1 2 3 4. Check 1 2 3 4. Press conference audio lip sync test. Check 1 2.
Just a reminder, we're going to be starting our afternoon session of news conferences in a couple minutes with Houston. The order will be Houston, Michigan, San Diego State, and Montana.
Check 1 2 3 4. Check test 1 2. Mike, let me know if we need to do anything else. Thank you.
Okay, Houston student athletes are on their way. A couple reminders before we start the press conference. Please silence your cell phones. There's no flash photography allowed, nor recording using your iPhone or your tablet. This first session will be 15 minutes for the student athletes. Rob, you're closest to me. Yeah, by your Okay, before we start, the satellite coordinates, Galaxy 17, transponder 17B. The download frequency is 12035.5 horizontal. So without further ado, we're pleased to have with us Senior Devin Davis and Rob Gray. At this time, we're entertaining questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll have our microphone holders come to you. Okay, right over here on the maroon shirt. Please identify your name and outlet. Thanks.
Yeah, Bryce Miller from the San Diego Union Tribune. Rob, maybe starting with you. I know the NCAA tournament format, you're learning about these teams you don't see during the season very quickly on the fly, but San Diego State has this program-wide defensive reputation, but in the short window that you've tried to learn about them, what do you know about them offensively?
You know, they have Trey Kell, Malik Pope, Mitchell, you know, some very good offensive players. I know they haven't been healthy all year, and they're rolling right now. You know, they won 9 in a row. They've been playing some really good basketball, and you know, it's a great quality first-round competition, and we're just looking forward to the chance to compete after losing in the championship game to Cincinnati by 1 point. So, you know, we pride ourselves on defense and rebounding, and we know we'll have a good test coming out in the first round, and we'll get a chance to show everyone nationally that what we've been working on all year and the pride that we have in our defense.
Front row in the aisle.
Joseph Duarte, Houston Chronicle for Rob and Devin. By now you've probably heard that the last time this program, Houston's won a NCAA tournament game, was 1984. What would that mean to get that first win under your belt if you can win tomorrow night and since it's been so long?
We're going to start with Devin first and Robbie.
It would mean a lot to the program and to the players. We put in a lot of work since June and July to get to this moment, and we don't feel like we're done yet. So we're just going to play as hard as we can and just take it one game at a time.
Yeah, exactly what he said. It'll mean a lot to the fan base, the alumni, and everyone that's affiliated with the Houston Cougar basketball program. You know, we've been battling all year for them, and to make the tournament, you know, I know they feel real good about that, but we're looking to do a little bit more than that. You know, we want to make a run, make some noise, and we believe in ourselves, and we're just thankful that we have this opportunity.
On the aisle.
Mark Siegler, San Diego Union Tribune. For both of you, people talk about tournament experience, tournament experience being important this time of year. San Diego State has, I think, 4 guys who played in it before. I'm not sure you have anybody. Do you think that'll be a factor? And if not, why not?
Did you play in tournament, Dev?
No.
No. Yeah. You know, we have a great leader, Coach Sampson. He's had a lot of tournament experience. He teaches us things every single day, and he gives us the recipe to win. You know, it's our job to listen and do our jobs and just compete as hard as we can. So we understand that we don't have any players who've played in the tournament, but we have a great leader that we learn from each and every day. And as far as San Diego State, you know, that'll be an advantage that they have. You know, they have players who've been in the tournament and, you know, seen the competition level and understand what's at stake. But, you know, we're pretty smart. Even though we haven't been there, we listen to Coach Sampson, we watch film, and we understand what's at stake. And we're just ready to go out and compete. And in a sense, it could be an advantage that we don't have anyone who's played in the tournament because we're all so excited to be here. And we're confident in our abilities, and our energy and our desperation is really going to help us with our competitive nature.
Yeah, like Rob said, we have a great head coach and Coach Sampson. We're going to buy in and listen to everything that him and his staff have, because they put in a lot of work into the scouts. So we're going to buy into everything that they're telling us, and I mean, we're excited. Nobody's played in this tournament. None of us have ever been here before, so we're excited. We're going to play as hard as we can. We're going to play smart, too.
Other questions? Going to go to Bryce in the maroon here.
I guess for Devin, back on the thoughts about San Diego State offensively, Trey Kell scored 28 points in the Mountain West title game, and Malik Pope at points in his career has been talked about like an NBA guy. Watson's an experienced scorer. Jalen McDaniels has taken over games at times. When you try to scout a team like that, where do you start in terms of priorities defensively?
The head of our defense, which would be our guards, and it's going to take all 5 defenders on the court to just guard. Like the pick and roll, they're a heavy, high pick and roll team. We know that. So it's going to take each and every player on the court to guard the ball. And we just have to stay focused all 40 minutes.
Other questions? Okay, we're going to go to the front aisle and then across.
Hey, Rob, after the Cincinnati game, Coach Sampson was saying that playing so many games that weekend, it kind of caught up to you on Sunday, both teams actually, in terms of fatigue. I think he gave you Monday off. How are the legs and how's the team's energy right now?
Well, situations like this, you can't afford to be tired at all. I feel great. I'm excited to be here. Those 3 games in 3 days, a little AAU style format. Haven't played AAU in a long time, so you could tell in that Cincinnati game that it was very sluggish and ugly in the second half. But in games like that, that's where we have to pride ourselves on our defense and offensive rebounding to be able to win. And those have been staples of our culture all year long. So we're just trying to survive and advance by any means, no matter if our legs are a little tired or not. It's all about mental toughness at this point.
Across the aisle.
For both of you, does San Diego State remind you of anybody you played this year that was on your schedule?
We're going to start with Devin, then Rob.
With their length, I would say like Wake Forest, or when we scrimmaged against Baylor early in the year, they just have a lot of length in their front court. So, and talent-wise, I would compare them to Wichita State. They have a lot of talent, 1 through 5.
Yeah, same as he said, Baylor, Wake Forest, those long teams with the maybe 7-footers or 6'10" guys coming off the bench. But we're a very small team. We understand that. I think we're about 318th out of all 351 schools when it comes to height. But we rarely get out rebounded, and we pride ourselves on our heart and toughness. So we're not looking to make any excuses. We're just looking to go out here and get the job done, no matter what it takes.
Any other questions for our student athletes? Go back to the aisle.
The San Diego State coaches have been talking the last few days just about how physical you guys are. Obviously, as you just said, you're not the tallest team in the world, but do you think you're the most physical team in the country?
I'm not sure if we're exactly the most physical in the country, but I think we're in the conversation. I know we're a top 10 offensive rebounding team. We have a tendency to foul a lot, one of the higher fouling teams in the country, but it's just a part of our effort and a part of our nature to not back down and box out, make hustle plays, and just bring it to the competition. So we're definitely going to stick to our style. We're going to try to impose our will and just win a defensive rebound and offensive rebound and battle, and that's been a key to our success all year. So no need to change anything now.
Yeah, we're a team full of little small guys, like little height, but we all have big hearts and a lot of pride, and we're going to buy into the culture, and we'll play as hard as we can.
Up front in the aisle.
Rob, on the fouls, this time of year, do you have to change that approach in terms of not giving, not fouling as much as maybe you would in the regular season just because of the opportunities, the free chances to go to the line for the other teams, and just the stakes are raised at this point?
Yeah, Coach Sampson doesn't change no matter what it is. It could be a scrimmage versus a D2 team. He's been on us all year about fouling and just gift wrapping the other team 2 points. But, it's just something that comes with playing hard and being extra physical, blocking out and pursuing offensive rebounds. So, we're going to try to balance playing hard and playing smart as good as we can. But, there's going to be mistakes. We're all human, so we just got to try to do anything we can to win. And we definitely need to limit the fouls. We don't want to give them any free points.
Still have time for a couple more questions if there are any.
I know you all don't get to play West Coast teams that often, but West Coast kind of has a growing reputation for being, I don't want to say soft, but more finesseful. You know, the type of guys you see on San Diego State's roster, long, really lean, like Jalen McDaniels and Malik Pope. But you don't see the thick guys like you guys have on your roster. Do you agree with that? And when you go play a West Coast team, do you feel like we want to show them how we play basketball over here?
We don't see a difference in West Coast, East Coast. We just see an opponent, and we have to be the best us we can be, play the best that we can be, and it doesn't matter who we're playing against. We just have to play to our culture, play to our style of play.
Yeah, I don't know if we played any West Coast teams this year. No. I will say, though, watching film on San Diego State in the Mountain West in the tournament, it is a little different, as far as like the ball pressure and denial. It's just kind of like, more finesse, and it's like offensive shootout. Even though San Diego does have a high-ranked defensive team on KenPom, I think they're at 36 right now. So, it may be finesse, but obviously they're doing a pretty good job in their matchups and limiting opponents to scoring per possession. So, we can't really focus on East Coast, West Coast, or anything. You just got to focus on the opponent and stick to our style and just try to impose our will and win the game in the small areas.
Time for one last question. Okay, last question of this session here.
You guys get away with that another question. You look at your roster. You don't have a lot of guys who were five-star All-American, McDonald's All-Americans. You have a bunch of JC guys, a couple transfers from mid-major or low-major schools. Is that an accurate assessment, and does that kind of bind you together and make you the team that you are, because it seems like everybody's got a chip on their shoulder?
Extremely accurate. I know half of our team went to junior college. Me and Devin both went to junior college. No All-Americans, no five-stars, just a bunch of junkyard dogs. And that's how we got to win, We pride ourselves on not being the most pretty and just getting the job done. And it's been working so far, and it's something Coach Sampson sticks to each and every day in practice. And, our toughness is what has to get us over the hump, whereas, other teams may have height, length, or athleticism. So we understand, what we're capable of and what we're up against, and we're going to stick to our game plan, and I'm very confident in my teammates.
Yeah, we don't mind being the underdog. It kind of makes us more hungrier, I would say. We just, like Rob said, we just have to outwork our I guess, less talent or less length that we have, and just play to our culture.
Yeah, and similar, preseason, we were picked 6 in the American Athletic Conference, and, they were going off 5 stars, length, all that. So, we don't pay attention to that. We just let it fuel the fire, and, I'm pretty sure there will be similar assessments here in the tournament. So, we just got to kind of ignore that. If anything, just let it fuel us and get ready to go out there and compete.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to begin our session with Houston head coach Calvin Sampson in his 4th season, first appearance for the Cougars in the NCAA since 2010. Coach, welcome to Wichita, and your assessment of your opponent tomorrow.
First of all, San Diego State is, after watching them, I'm not sure, I don't know what their strength and weakness is, and I think their strength is they don't have any weaknesses. There's not one area watching them that I say, well, we can exploit this for sure. They've got big, strong, physical guards. I keep hearing about how physical we are. Our guards are 6 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot. Theirs are 6'4", 220, and one 6'5", 230. I don't get that. So They got a really big backcourt. That causes problems. Big backcourts have caused us problems all year. Cincinnati, was 6'6" and 6'6" on the wing. Wichita State was 6'6" and 6'7". Those teams with big wings have caused problems for us. And then, inside, those are usually rock fights. So, but San Diego State's very talented. Pope and McDaniel. We don't have guys like that. We don't have guys like that in our league. Probably the best inside player in our league is Morris from Wichita State. Best overall player maybe Clark from Cincinnati. I think Morris is probably about 6'8", Clark's about 6'7". So, we haven't seen this kind of length this year. Probably the team that had that kind of length that we played against was probably Wake Forest maybe, Providence. Providence was big. Wake Forest had a couple 7-footers. So San Diego State's very good. Brian Dutcher does a great job of coaching his team. They're well coached and very disciplined. Good guards, good front line, good team. There's a reason they've won 9 in a row.
Okay, this time we'll take questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone holder over to you. Front side aisle.
Mark Ziegler, San Diego Union Tribune. Just listening to you, it sounds like you're the 11th seed and they're the 6th seed. You guys have a chance tomorrow?
I think that seed and stuff, you can put that in a bag and throw it in the ocean. I mean, what does that mean? How do they know who the seeds are? If you look at the two teams, we are the 11th seed. Look at their players and look at ours. We're 6 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot, 6'5". I just like their roster. They've done a really nice job of putting that team together. They've got a two-headed point guard that's really good. Watson and Hemsley complement each other well, so they don't take a dip when they go to the bench. I think that's what really good teams do, is they have depth. They have 7 or 8 starters. So Hemsley and Watson are really good at the point. Kell is a great closer. He can. He's one of those guys that can get the ball to Pope, Mitchell, McDaniel throughout the game, and all of a sudden, the last 5 minutes, he wins it for you. It's nice to have a guy like that. But I've never been concerned. You don't know what you don't know. But people that take stock in seeding. Well, you're a higher seed and they're a lower seed. After the 1 seeds and 2 seeds, everybody's about the same as far as I'm concerned. 3 seeds. There's some 3 seeds that could be 2 seeds, but once you get from 4 to about 13, I think and everybody talks about parity. And all of a sudden we get to the tournament, you forget parity and you start talking about seeds. What happened to parity?
Go in the front here in the maroon, Bryce. Then we get.
Coach, at least program-wide, San Diego State's had this national reputation as a defensive team, defensive-minded. That's how they stayed in games. That's how they limited opponents. This team seems to be breaking out of that mold a little bit offensively with more options. Is that accurate in your mind, or what do you see about them offensively?
Are you from San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego.
You know way more about that than I do. I've never seen them before. I've never seen them play, except on film. How many times have you seen them this year? So you answer your own question. What do you think?
I'm just curious, through the film that last couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never seen them in person. So, I have to read about them and look on film. So I don't know that I'm qualified to answer the question. But after reading and catching up on them, it sounds like they struggled early because of Kell being out with injuries. And I think about if Rob Gray was out with injuries for us, I mean, we'd struggle too. But I think I go back to I would answer that question, I guess, with my initial thought about them. I don't think they have a weakness. I think they're really good offensively because Brian can go different ways. When you can post your guards up against other 6'3", 6'4" guards, I'm sure his eyelids was blinking when he saw our guards. And they post up 6'3", 6'4" guys. I mean, we're going to run 6-foot guys out there. They're going. So I'm sure their kids saw our film and said, it's going to be fun.
We have a question on the left here. Go ahead.
Kelvin, the guys back in the locker room just talking with them saying, look, we learned from what happened in that conference tournament. How do they take that?
Learn what? Learn from what? Beating Wichita State?
Beating Wichita State and a tough loss to Cincinnati. They said that's something they can build upon. They learned the things they did good, the things they did bad.
No, I don't think they learned. I mean, we played 33 games. This is our 34th game. I think our kids are no different than Kansas kids or Pennsylvania's kids or San Diego State kids. This is our next game. You know, I think you've got to flush the last one, let it go, and get on to the next one. We played Sunday afternoon. You know, it's a short turnaround for us. 3 games in 3 days from, Monday. We left yesterday. We're here today. We don't have a new offense to put in. We don't have a new defense to put in. You know, we take our system and put it against San Diego State system. I think this game's 50-50. I think we can beat San Diego State, but I think San Diego State can beat us too. I think it's that kind of game. Got to play good. Got to play. If we play good, we'll have a good chance. If they play good, that means we probably not going to play good, and they're going to have a good chance. Does that clear anything up for you?
Yeah, it's totally clear now. The other thing they want to do is make history for U of H basketball. UH hasn't won a tournament game since '84, and they're well aware of that.
Well, it's hard to win a game we haven't been in a tournament. So I think we need to start there. How many times have we been in a tournament since '80? What year did you say? So they haven't won a game since '84. So how many chances have they had? What? 5. So what are they, 0 for 5? Huh? So they have 4 chances. Yeah, so they've had 4 chances. I don't know what the question is. Yeah, I'm sure they would if you ask them, but that's not something we ever talk about or even think about. You know, I was really proud of our kids. You know, when that U of H went up on the board Sunday, that logo, interlocking U and interlocking H, that's a proud day. You know, because I remember where we were in 2014. You know, San Diego State's got a great history. You know, Steve Fisher, who's a very good friend of mine. I've known Steve for 30 years. I know what Steve did at San Diego State, and Brian was sitting right there with him all those years. So their program is established. They've been really good for a long, long, long time, whereas we're kind of a latecomer to the party. You know, 3 years ago, we went through 13 and 19, and that was a great year. I mean, that team could have went a lot worse than 13 and 19. Then the next year, we got a little bit better. The next year, pretty good again, and then this year, so you know, we're kind of 3 years into this thing, and here we are in the tournament. So we're happy about that, and I think our best days are ahead of us too. So I thought our first year would be our worst year while we were at Houston. But I don't think this will be our best year. I think our best years are going to be ahead of us. So, whereas with San Diego State, I've always watched Steve's teams play. I just was always amazed at their length and athleticism. You know, and I know how good Kawhi Leonard was, and Kawhi Leonard was, you know, it's not like he stood out on that team. I mean, that was a really good team. there was a lot of good players on that team. And it's like the team they have now, you can tell how good they're going to be in the future because they're freshmen. This McDaniel kid's special now. You know, he's not going to be 210 pounds forever. And that Mitchell kid, that boy's a load. He's a good player. So I think you got two programs that's just going to continue to get better. They're established. We're not. We're still fighting to get there. We need to continue to win and continue to be consistent, whereas San Diego State has been like that. But we have kids in this program, this is their first year at Houston, they're in the NCAA tournament. So when you start talking history to them, they don't know what you're talking about.
We got time for one final question here. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah.
Kelvin, at least in recent years, this hasn't been a program that's had, you know, the players that are deemed 5 stars or McDonald's All-Americans. But I'm curious, as you've gone out and grabbed guys from the JUCO ranks or, you know, other places, there's things you can teach, but is there a trait that you look at a recruit and say, I can work with this? This is a guy that could fit what I want to do.
Well, you talk about 5-star, who in our conference does? Well, why, I mean, nobody in our conference has 5 stars, except for maybe Connecticut. They have 5 stars. So when we talk about junior college kids, we have as many high school kids as we do junior college kids. You know, Fabian White was on the all-freshman team this year. Galen Robinson was on the all-freshman team 2 years ago. You know, Rob Gray may have been a junior college kid, but Rob was a qualifier. Was a 3.3 student in junior college and had 3 years eligibility. So I've had him for 3 years, not 2. Chris Harris came from a junior college, and same thing academically. He's got 3 years. So we have a lot of kids that's here 3 and 4 years. It's not, you know, sometimes we have to put things in proper context. We're not a junior college program. We have some really good junior college players, though. So what was your question?
When you're assembling those guys, I mean, is there, or just in general recruiting, is there, you know, something that you look at, you see a trait that, other things you may be able to teach, but is there a trait that you look at that you say, I can work with that, or that's something that'll fit my program?
Yeah. I think you guys, I just walked into the tail end of Devin and Rob's press conference. I think you can tell the intelligence level of both those kids. Those are smart kids. You know, I like smart kids. You know, it's hard to play this game if you can't think. It really is. Defense is about instinct, reaction, and basketball IQ. You know, I can teach a lot of things, but I cannot teach instinct. I cannot teach IQ. I can't. Can't teach size either. But if you're coachable, if you have the ability to react and make multiple decisions in a short amount of time, you know, talent is always there. That's number one. You recruit good players. We all try to recruit good players, but I like to recruit smart kids. You know, Devin's a very smart kid. You know, Rob was one of those kids that, you know, he graduated in December, but he could have graduated last December. You know, he's an extremely, extremely bright kid. I have 4 seniors. Two of them have already graduated. The other 2 are taking single-digit credits to get their degree in May. So every kid in our program is on track to graduate from Houston, and they're all good students. They would graduate from anybody's college. So for me, I look at instinct. If a kid's on a 3-on-1 break, does he make the right decision? You know, when the shot goes up, and does he block out or does he go after the ball? And is he pretty good at either one? I also like to recruit kids that come from good coaches, winning programs. Good coaches are usually good teachers. You know, they teach kids. They come in advanced. You know, Devin played his freshman. He played at Indiana. Came from a really good high school program, outstanding junior college coach at Odessa, Trey Arnold's outstanding coach. Rob played for one of the best junior college coaches in the nation, Scott Raines at Howard. Excellent coach. Scott Raines would be a good coach anywhere. So I just think kids that are smart, kids that are tough, we can help them with the toughness. As long as they're not too far back, you know, we can help them. I've had some that, you know, it's hard to help them all. San Diego State's got a tough team, though. I like their toughness.
That's going to conclude today's session. Don't want to hold you up, Coach, from your practice shortly. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Thanks, guys.
Our next session will start at 3:30 with Michigan. Thank you. We're ready to begin with the Michigan Wolverines, the number 3 seed in the West Region. Wolverines will play tomorrow night's final game at 8:50 against University of Montana. At this time, we'll take questions. If you have a question, again, raise your hand. We'll get right to you. Go to the aisle here.
You guys have obviously had a couple of days off, or actually 10 full days off before your next game. How have you guys been staying fresh, and do you feel the layoff's going to affect you at all? I guess we'll go with Mo first.
I think obviously we enjoyed the Big Ten championship a little bit for a couple of days, but then we didn't waste too much time and got to back to the gym as quick as possible. And yeah, it's a great challenge waiting for us on tomorrow, and we had a lot of work obviously to do.
Okay, Mohammed.
Yeah, like Mo said, we enjoyed our championship, and then we got back to work. We took much-needed rest. That we had a tough end of the season, a lot of games back-to-back, and we took the much-needed rest and got back to work and started focusing on Montana.
Duncan?
Like they both said, got some rest, and then, you know, stayed sharp, tried to compete, and then clean up some things that we wanted to work on. And then once we found out, you know, where we were playing and who we were playing, we started focusing on them.
Questions on the aisle here?
I'm covering Montana. Just a question for you guys. For them, when the selection show happens and they see you guys pop up, they might be familiar with you guys because they get to watch you on national television. What is it like for you guys when you see Montana, a team that you probably never seen or heard much of before?
We're going to start with Duncan, then Mo, then Mohammed.
Well, first and foremost, we knew they were a really good team. You know, you don't win your regular season conference and then also win the conference tournament as well without being a good team. So, you know, 26, 27 wins, whatever they have. So, you know, we have a lot of respect for them. But, you know, the next couple of days after Selection Sunday, we're, you know, kind of getting used to them, figuring out personnel and tendencies and stuff like that.
Yeah, similar to what Duncan said. I mean, I wasn't necessarily familiar with the name, but the players at first. But I looked at the wins. That was like kind of the key number, and then I figured out that they won both the regular season and the tournament. So that's a great accomplishment, and they deserve a lot of respect. So yeah, it's a great challenge.
Yeah, like they both said, we saw that they were a great team, winning your season championship and then the conference championship. So you knew there was a good team. I've actually have a friend from back home that's a big Montana fan, so he retweets stuff on Twitter all the time. So I see you guys pop up, and sometimes.
Front.
Hi, Frank Agola with the Missoulian. You guys are being picked to win this game and go far in the tournament. Just what's the mindset heading into this first game?
We're going to again start with Duncan, Mo, and then Mohammed.
You know, we're focused right now on game one tomorrow. You know, like we just said, we know this is a really good Montana team that's won a lot of games this year. So, first and foremost, we're focused on Thursday.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily worried about who's picking who. We just focused on the next day and the next challenge, and approach every game as it's a championship game, and then we see. But it doesn't matter to us who's picking who.
As they both said, we just can't get ahead of ourselves. We have to focus on the task ahead, and that's Montana, and that's all we're focused on.
On the side on the far right, yeah, go ahead.
Vince Bagby with KECI TV. For you guys, the short turnaround you have had to see film on Montana, what stands out? Why do you think they had such a good regular season and conference tournament to be a good basketball team this year?
Okay. Again, Duncan, Mo, and then Mohammed.
First and foremost, they're talented, and they play really hard. And defensively, they mix it up, throw different stuff at you. So, that'll be a challenge for us to adjust into that, get up in passing lanes, force turnovers, and they play at a good pace. So, these are all things that we tried to, simulate and practice these last couple of days, and, hopefully we'll be ready for it tomorrow.
I think they have a really good balance between outside and inside game with a very strong and athletic backcourt and a really good inside game as well. So, as Duncan said, they're very challenging to guard, and yeah, they're a good challenge.
Just like Mo said, they have a great balance between guard play and inside play, and I think leadership, they have a lot of experienced players, definitely helps, and it'll propose a tough challenge for us.
The aisle.
Riley Corcoran with Montana Radio. So with their defensive scheme, obviously that's their calling card. Could you guys compare their style a little bit, what you've seen on film, to anyone that you've played maybe in the Big Ten or all season long?
Duncan, Mo, Mohammed.
Yeah, a little bit with Illinois in our conference, just how they get up in passing lanes, make catches really tough, and then we'll blitz ball screens periodically. So we look back on that film and how we fared against them. We learned a lot from that game as well, playing against Illinois, because they're a tough team to play against, like Montana is as well. So hopefully that experience we gain will help us tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing really to add to that. Illinois is, yeah, pretty simple answer.
You have anything, Mohammed?
Pretty much Illinois, same thing.
Stay in the aisle.
Not necessarily a basketball question, but do you guys know or can say anything about knowing anything about the state of Montana in general? Just curious.
We'll go with Duncan again.
It's got some mountains. I know that. It's got, some great outdoors. I'm from New Hampshire, so I appreciate that sort of stuff. Never been there, but, maybe I'll get to go at some point.
Yeah, I just knew that it was in the west, up northwest, right? And I kind of connected it to mountains as well, so that was what I knew.
I can't say I know much. I'm guessing there's a lot of grizzly bears there. That's the only guess, but don't know too much.
Still have about 5 minutes left. Any other questions? Okay.
Mohammed, just going back to what you said earlier, I was curious about your friend that tweets about Montana and what that connection is.
He's actually just a friend from a school around the city of Allentown, where I'm from, in Pennsylvania. And, he just always tweets about Montana sports in general, football and basketball. And so I always just see his tweets. We don't really talk much, but I always just see it on my Twitter feed.
Any last questions? Otherwise, we'll dismiss our student athletes. Okay, guys, best of luck tomorrow night. Thank you very much. Okay, we're ready to proceed to Michigan head coach John Beilein. We understand, Coach, your first trip ever to the city of Wichita.
I tell you right away, our reception yesterday was terrific. Coming to the hotel, and got some great weather. We've had a pretty busy winter in Michigan, and the weather's great. So we're looking forward to this experience.
Okay, at this time, we're opening up for questions, and again, a reminder: no recording of any video recording. If you have a question, raise your hand. Our microphone holders will come to you.
Frank Agola with the Missoulian covering Montana. With the long layoff for your team, where do you feel they're at mentally and physically heading in?
Yeah, that's probably been the most asked question, and rightfully so, because I think most of the power conferences you're used to, some rhythm here. But I think back, Wichita State's been doing it for years when they're in the Missouri Valley, and Gonzaga's been doing it out in the West Coast Conference. We used it as a time we took 3 days off in the week, but never 2 in a row. We really worked back at some things that we wanted to work at. We tried to play a scrimmage on Friday that simulated a game, and I'll be interested to see how we do, but it will not become an excuse no matter what the results are.
In the aisle.
Riley Corcoran with Montana Radio. In your 40 years of coaching, have you ever had a 10-day layoff between games in the middle of a season?
Yeah, when I was both at Richmond and Canisius, and in fact, a couple of times at Canisius and Richmond, we were in the NIT as well. So it's happened 5 or 6 times. And you just go through it, but I've always looked at it as this is a great time for us to get healthy, and it's a great time for us to work with our guys, especially the young ones. It's almost like, you have the practice before a bowl game in football. It's great times to develop your team. So we were able to do some things with some of our younger guys that in 20 hours a week that were pretty good. Watch some film, and but also really get rest for some of these young men.
On the right side aisle, then we'll come up front.
Coach, in the time you've had to prepare for Montana, what jumps out at you? Any player specifically or style of play that makes them tough?
This is as solid a team as there is anywhere. They're only playing 7 people. But I'm telling you, those 7 are like they fit in the pieces perfectly. Really impressed. They remind me of we had 2 great teams that made the NCAA from Canisius and from Richmond. I think Richmond actually was a 14 seed, and we upset South Carolina, who was a 3 seed. And they really have outstanding guards. They have just the right pieces up front, right? A mix of inside, outside. The style's terrific, and they really guard you. They create turnovers, which is something that is always concerning to a coach. We're really good at not turning the ball over. They're really good at creating them. So that's going to be a big battle to watch tomorrow.
Go on the right side here, front. Yeah, and then we'll get back to you.
And Coach Mark Ziegler from San Diego Union Tribune. Obviously, I know you don't want you to think too far ahead. Chance you could play San Diego State in a program built by Steve Fisher. He's retired now. I think he's been back on Michigan's campus once since he was fired, and that was for Bo Schembechler's funeral. Will you work publicly? Do you think it's time for him to maybe be recognized for his contributions to the university? Will you work maybe to bring him back now that he's retired?
Steve Fisher and I have been friends went back when he was the Michigan coach, and he has gone out of his way over and over again to when I'm on the road, I'm traveling, whatever, the Nike trips. We have actually spent a lot of time together. Steve's a close friend, and I know that's in the plans. I'd rather keep it right with their area. He's a great friend, and he did a fantastic job at Michigan, and he's a great friend of mine. And we're always thinking of how we can bring former coaches and former players back. We've really done a great job. He's been coaching at San Diego State, right? So he could never make it back to some of our reunions. That's something we're very hopeful to do in the future.
Okay, now we're going to go right up here front, and then we get over to the left side.
Coach Frank Agola from the Missoulian. When you were at West Virginia, you guys played Montana in a tournament down in Florida when Wayne Tinkle was the head coach.
Yeah.
That was your last year at West Virginia. So how would you say you've evolved as a coach since then? And do you have any stories about Wayne or any other Montana coaches you might know?
No, that was when we were probably playing half the game 1-3-1 zone. Now we call the 1-3-1 zone. It's Bigfoot. Everybody talks about it, and nobody sees it anymore. And so it is. We did a lot of that. The only reason I'm still coaching some 43 years later is because we changed like crazy. So that is 11 years ago, right? So if you looked at our teams now and 11 years ago, they're very different. If you looked at them 22 years ago, they're a lot different than they were 11 years ago. And that's what you have to do if you're a coach. You got to continue to grow, and you got to keep up with the game.
Okay, now we'll go left side on the aisle. And then we'll go across from
Coach Sean Rainey with ABC Fox Montana. Obviously, the Grizz are excited to be here at this stage. What do you remember from being at the smaller schools, making the NCAA tournament? How special it is?
Well, they have some of the places I had been at, especially Canisius. I think they've only gone one time in 50 years or something. So it was really a unique experience. Montana's got a great tradition of being one of the tops in the Big Sky, and so and Wayne Tickle is a friend of mine, and he texted me right away as soon as he saw the draw and say, take it easy on the Grizz. I said, I don't think we have to worry about that. They're a very good team. So it is it's a great experience, and they should go in it to win it because they have talent. And I think most teams, that's the only approach you can take right now is so many things can happen. And I'm sure their fans are excited, just like the Michigan fans are excited. And it should be a great game.
Now we'll go across, and then we'll go back.
Coach, your team has struggled at the free throw line this season, and now at least with the pressure situation of being in the big dance. What's your approach with free throw shooting through squad? Are you a coach that doesn't talk about it? Or are you worried about it at all going into the matchup in this kind of situation?
No, we just keep working at it. We don't talk about it a lot. We just work at it. And there's some things that are evolving in the right direction, but guys, 50% guys aren't going to go to 80 overnight. But I thought in the Big Ten tournament, when the pressure was on, 21,000, 20,000, whatever it was, playing Purdue and Michigan State, Nebraska, all teams that are either on the bubble or NCAA. Iowa, we had to win an overtime game. We weren't super. Like last year's team was tremendous, but we got enough done. So hopefully we've worked hard enough on it, and they can go up there and get the job done because it's not good to have a bad foul shooting team at this time of the year.
We're going to go on the left, right there in the blue, and then we'll go across the way here.
Coach Derek Berkeley with KPAX TV. The players that came up for you have all played multiple games in this tournament before. Montana has nobody who's played in an NCAA tournament. How much of a advantage or how much of a factor does that play in here?
Well, we got three guys that have played really in NCAA. Xavier Simpson played a little bit last year, but we have really three guys. So we got some young guys now too that are getting in there for the first time. We lost four of our top six from last year's team. 4 of our top 7, I guess you would say. So we're a little bit new in it in some areas, but I can't tell you, just like with Montana, once you go through a Big Ten tournament, a Big Sky tournament, they had to win 3 in a row. We had to win 4 in a row. The NCAA tournament is certainly special, but I don't think these kids have to get ready for it now. They're already ready. They're seasoned, and by playing in such high leverage situations like they were. I mean, it's not like they were going to get an at-large bid, right? They might have deserved one, but they're not like getting an at-large bid. They've played some pressure games. They're ready, and we went in there really to win 4 in a row. You got to have special kids, and they did that.
On the right, on the aisle there.
Kyle Rowland, Toledo Blade. 14 seeds have had some success here in recent years. You're one coach that has experienced that. What makes them such difficult teams to knock out?
Really good players. It's a big thing. If you have really good players that perform well, that's a big difference. I think that and many times it's about a matchup because everybody will. You'll always see the upsets. See, to me, I think there's a big difference between 1 and 16, and there might not be, right? Penn is a really good team. Right, Penn's a really good team, and Kansas is a really good team, but there may be some big differences there. Once they start seeding these teams, 2 through 6, and 7 through 10, and then 10 through 14, there's very little difference in those areas, and so sometimes it's just a matter of the matchups were good. or maybe your team's had more experience in it. So that's why it's so popular. This is very unpredictable, and teams might have success, but not success like their John Wooden success, that they're always in the Final Four. People get really good teams are out in this first weekend.
Other questions? Okay, stay on the right side by the aisle.
Coach Vince Bagby with KECI TV. Whether you're a 3 seed or a 14 seed, to get to this point in the tournament is fun for these student athletes to be a part of this tournament. As a coach, what's your message between allowing them to enjoy themselves and have fun and also treat it like business and get some wins?
Yeah, that's a good question, because as coaches we have to guard against that. But it is still business right now for us, and so I think we've been able to do that when we travel on the road and we do whatever. You know, our kids are in an incredible hotel here, right? They're gonna do a shoot around today in front of a lot of people. They're playing on national TV. I think they understand that and enjoy that. But this is not about having fun. This is about just the fun comes after you win. And our kids have to be focused on doing their very best. And winning does not come just by saying it. Winning comes because you focus just on doing your best. And that's all I want our kids to play their best. And then if the end result is a win, then we have fun.
I have time for a couple more before you begin practice. Any other questions out there? Okay,
thanks,
Coach, best of luck. Thank you. San Diego State players at 4:15. Hold on, you can, yeah, I'll Okay, we're ready to start our next session. We have student athletes from San Diego State. Malik, yeah, come on up, guys. Malik Pope will be at the far left there. Closest to me would be Devin. And then we have Trey on the middle. Okay. Okay, this time, take questions for our student athletes. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone holder. Start right up here.
Devin, the program at San Diego State historically has been one that's been known for being defensive-minded, but this year you guys have shown a lot more offensive versatility, not just even with the starting lineup, but off the bench. What has this team done offensively this year that's helped kind of shake some of that defensive-first talk?
I just think that this team has a lot of confidence, and we're also really talented, and we play well together. So with those three things, it's easy to have a great offensive team.
This is for Trey and Malik. NCAA tournament's a different kind of animal, and you guys have been there before. I think Cam and Max also have. No one on their roster has. Is that a big deal? I know it was when you played St. John's 3 years ago. They had nobody on the roster to play. Why is experience important in this event?
I think it's important because it's just the level of intensity and things of that nature pick up. Obviously, it's win or go home. It's, nationally televised games and things of that nature. So it's kind of easy for a team to go on a run and you kind of overreact when we all know it's a game of runs, so it could change just like that. So, the main message you just have to preach is, even though it's not another game, it is another game, and just go out there and play the way we're capable of, and everything will take care of itself. repeat the end of the question for me?
You've been in this tournament before. How important is that experience versus not having ever played in this before?
I feel like the experience is just important itself in terms of leading, you know, the guys that haven't been here. That'll be a vital part of us becoming successful in the future. So experience and just knowing what's coming is big for us.
Going to go to the aisle here on the left side.
This is kind of a follow-up on that one. Does it feel any different, or do you approach it any differently being in the NCAA tournament now as a senior as opposed to being a freshman last time?
We're going to start with Malik and then work our way to this.
Man, you kind of lost me. Can you repeat that?
Just, does it feel any different being in the NCAA tournament, or do you approach it any differently now as a senior and it being your second time as opposed to as a freshman in 2015?
Yeah, as seniors, it's your last go-around, so of course it's that important, you know. It's kind of do or die. You got to leave it all out there, so you know, being back, you just have that urgency as leaders and vets and rookies, whatever you want to call them. You guys just have that level of urgency and ready to go.
Trey?
Yeah. I just look at it as I have a different role. My freshman year, my main focus was come in, don't mess up. Now it's, you know, I'm one of the vocal points of the team, so, you know, just got to keep the team level-headed, go out there and try to make plays, and you know, just leave it all out there, as Malik was saying.
Devin?
Even though this is my first time playing in the NCAA tournament, I played in a lot of big games, so I'm kind of one of the older guys on the team, so I think I can help in those categories as well.
Up front, Bryce?
Malik, this year, back on that thought about offensively, how you guys might be a little bit different this season. You're scoring more points as a team. You're taking less time per possession. Seems like you're pushing it offensively at a quicker pace. What's that felt like, and what have you noticed about that change this season? The numbers seem to bear that out.
Yeah, well, like Devin said, we have a lot of guys that have confidence in themselves and in the game, and with our game strategy mainly being to get up and down, which is our style of play. You know, we try to emphasize that and play to our strengths, and you know, I feel like we have been doing a good job with that.
Mark?
This is for Trey and Malik also. Going back to that NCAA tournament game against Duke 3 years ago, you guys had a sequence where you back-to-back plays. Trey drove up a ball screen and fed you for a three-pointer over Okafor. Do you remember that? Could you talk about that and what that felt like and you know, how that's sort of remained and bonded you guys?
It's funny because I was just on the way to practice that exact sequence. I was thinking about that. You know, it's just read the defense really, and knowing Malik, he can shoot. So they helped on me a couple of times, and I was able to hit him for threes. So I mean, we still have that same connection and vibe off ball screen. So hopefully we can have some of that same magic tomorrow.
Malik?
Yeah, it was just a level of synergy and connection, and you know, luckily I was able to knock down those two shots, of course, and yeah, we was definitely just talking about that before practice. It's crazy.
Go on the far side of the aisle.
Yes, for all you guys. When you think about the matchup with Michigan, just what's the one area that you guys are emphasizing in scouting them that you're going to have to be really sharp in tomorrow?
Start with Malik, then we'll go Trey.
You said against Michigan? It's definitely matching their physicality in my area. 'Cause we kind of have different jobs, but We know that they're pretty big down there, really strong and physical. Well aware that their guards can play a little bit. They can get up and down just like us. So just matching their intensity and their momentum and containing their fast breaks, how they get out in transition and get up threes. So it's just matching that pretty much.
Trey?
Yeah, I would just kind of go off what Malik was saying. We know they're a real physical team. They play really hard, so I feel like before anything, you just got to match the intensity of the game, and then also just they push the ball a lot in transition, and they got really good guards. So if we can do a good job of containing them a little bit, I feel like that'll put us in the right direction.
I think we're definitely going to have to bring the fight to them, be aggressive, match their intensity. And it's definitely going to be a physical game like Malik and Trey said, so, yeah.
For Trey and anybody else who wants to chime in on this, one of the unique things about the NCAA tournament is often you get referees, officials who have never seen you guys play. What's that like as a player, and how do you have to adjust to that? Can that become a factor?
I don't think that it's something you really think about too much. It's just like every other game. Obviously, we're going to have the best of the best refs in this tournament, but at the same time, we know they're not going to be perfect. They're going to miss some calls, so just the main thing, move on to the next play. Keep a level head, and if I feel like if you worry about the refs, then you're already at a disadvantage.
You want to answer that, Devin?
Sure. Sometimes on the court, I have a pretty good relationship with the refs, and probably going to be a little different, not having the same refs that I see over and over again. So it won't be a challenge, but it'll just be a little different.
Bryce had a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask Trey. Houston coach Kelvin Sampson said that the Dutch probably was, I forget the phrase he used, but licking his chops, something like that, looking at the size advantage you guys have at so many positions. And he specifically talked about how big you guys are as a guard court, talked about your ability to post their guys up. But basically that size advantage that you guys have, how do you view that heading into this game, or how do you use that or utilize that?
Yeah, we for sure have a height advantage, but I don't think it's something that they haven't faced before. I think that's where they make up with their physicality. They do a really good job of knowing that they're not the tallest team, but being physical at the same time. So just the main thing, just got to master physicality and know that we have that height advantage if we happen to get the ball on the low block or something like that. And if we can do that, then that'll help us a lot.
Malik, you want to add to that?
Can you repeat the question?
You guys have a size advantage. How do you guys have a size advantage at almost every position, and Houston coach Kelvin Sampson talked about it. So how do you take advantage of that advantage?
Yeah, like TK said, pretty sure they've seen a height advantage before. So I think our job would be just to make the smartest play there is presented within the defense, and go from there.
Got time for one or two more questions? Anybody? Okay, if there's no other questions, we're going to dismiss the players. Thank you very much. Best of luck tomorrow. Okay, we're ready for Coach Brian Dutcher. Again, the satellite coordinates, Galaxy 17, transponder 17B, the download frequency 12035.5 horizontal. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Coach Brian Dutcher, and let's, Coach, get your assessment of your opponent tomorrow, Houston.
You know, it's Calvin Sampson coach team, so we know what that's about. He's had a storied career, you know, Washington State, Oklahoma, Indiana, NBA stints, now at University of Houston, and his team reflects his personality. They're tough, they're hard-nosed, and Rob Gray at the point is everything that Calvin is. You know, tough, winner, and they're going to be a tremendous challenge for us tomorrow night.
Okay, we take questions. Please raise your hand. Front row here, Bryce.
Hey, Dutch. Kelvin talked about you guys having size advantages at almost every position, and he joked that you probably were pretty excited when you looked at their roster to take advantage of some of that in the guard court and posting guys up. What is he right about that, and you know, how do you use that to your advantage in a game like this?
That's why he's the Wile O head coach. You know, we have length, but he has width. So we'll see where that meets, length versus width. So they're very physical. You know, they've got depth at every position. They've got seniors and juniors in the starting lineup. And so it'll be a real challenge for our length to see if we get knocked around or if we are up for the challenge of playing a physical brand of basketball tomorrow night.
Other questions for the coach? Okay, follow up, Bryce.
I know you've talked about this at some points this season, but offensively, this team seems different than past San Diego State teams. You guys have always had that defensive resume throughout the program in recent years, but more points, less time of possession, pushing pace. Could you just walk through how thoughtful that's been to be that kind of team offensively, and how are you different offensively?
You know, that was one of the main emphases. You know, when I took over, I want to increase our tempo of play. We know what the numbers were for over the last couple of years. And with that being said, we didn't go on a 9-game win streak until we got better defensively. So I'm happy with where we are offensively. I like the tempo we play with. I like our versatility. We can score from multiple positions. But the key to our success as of late is our ability to defend better and to limit opponents' three-point shots. Obviously, we're going to have to rebound at a higher level tomorrow, but I'm happy with where we are right now as a team at both ends of the floor.
You go to the aisle here.
Hey, Coach. Matt Craig from The Athletic. I just wanted to ask about this experience as a head coach, because you've been to so many NCAA tournaments, but now as a head coach, does this feel any different for you?
You know, I said to the team, and I've said publicly, as a coach, if you have any longevity, you just say, eventually I'm going to get back there. And so I'm grateful that I'm here as a first-year head coach, but I'm happiest for my team. You know, I think back to Malik and Trey going here as freshmen, and then the fear of saying, wow, they're not going to go again unless we get hot. And I take great pride in the fact where Trey and Malik and then Cam Rooks, who went when he was at Cal, get to finish their careers in this event. And then give our freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, some of them, a first taste at this NCAA tournament. So I feel extremely blessed to go, but I'm happiest for the team that they get to experience this and get to play in the greatest event in college athletics, the NCAA tournament.
On the right side in the gray.
Joseph Duarte, Houston Chronicle. Coach, I'm curious, Houston likes to take a lot of threes, specifically Rob Gray and Corey Davis Jr. What are your thoughts, just what you've seen on the film of those two guys and their ability to hit those shots?
Well, Davis and Brooks, if you give them any space at all, they're going to shoot it. And we've played against good three-point shooters all year, but some of them are more set shooters, so you can get there a little later. Both Brooks and Davis raise up on the catch. They shoot over you. So we're going to have to pay attention. We're going to have to be there on the catch and do our best to contest those shots. I know Calvin, you know, he wants them taking them. You know, he wants them on the fast break if they're open to let it go, and they shoot deep because everyone knows when you get into the half-court offense and the defense is set, a lot of times you see them coming. So we have to pay special attention to finding all three of those shooters, number one on the break, and then obviously pay attention to them in the half-court sets.
We had Bryce with a question here on the right.
Yeah, you were talking about Houston's width and physicality. I guess a two-part question. One, do they remind you of somebody you played in terms of their size and how they play? And two, if they are that physical, how do you work with the team to make sure your guys aren't getting knocked off their spots?
You know, we just have to play smart position basketball. You know, we have to know when it's time to bang and when it's time to release pressure and try to get them under the basket and then front them. So obviously the physicality will be most in play rebounding. I mean, they're a top 10 rebounding team. So to box out and to try to maintain contact, to have the guards come back and clean a lot of rebounds up, I think the physicality would be most reflected when it comes to rebounding. So that's something we spent some time on. We do that anyway, but we'll have to pay special attention to that tomorrow. Probably the most physical team we might have played, it was really early in the year. I mean, Georgia, being from the SEC, had some big bodies. They might have been longer. Houston's just wider. You know, they're just broader in the shoulders. So they're going to provide a challenge probably we haven't seen this year.
Still have a couple minutes left in this interview session. Anybody else with questions? There's no other questions. Wish you the best of luck tomorrow, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Our final session of the day will start at 5 o'clock with Montana. Okay, welcome to our final session of the day one. Again, a couple household reminders. Please silence your cell phones. There's no flash photography allowed, nor recording of any kind, including your cell phone and your tablet. We have our ladies over here with the complete transcript of the press conference that will be provided to you. The peak attendance at today's practice session was 13,695. 13,695. So without further ado, we want to welcome the Montana Grizzlies, and at this time we'll entertain questions for our student athletes. Please raise your hand. We have a microphone holder to you. Please give your name and your outlet. Thank you. Who's ambitious here? I'll go back row in the yellow.
Guys, Matt Shepard, University of Michigan basketball. You guys played Penn State earlier this year, obviously from the Big Ten. What kind of gauge did that give you for your game against Michigan, and how much have you changed since that?
Start off with Fabian, and then we go to Ahmad.
You know, that was early in our season, but it was a test against a Power 5 conference, and obviously the same conference as Michigan. So we thought we got some good things out of that game, some things we did well, but it just got away from us down the stretch of that game. But yeah, as I said, that was the second game of our season. We've improved a lot since then, and we've tightened up some things, and we feel very confident.
Yeah, you know, Penn State was a real physical team, you know, so that's the main thing we took away from that game. And Michigan is similar, you know, in that regard. They're real physical, you know, and they try to deny the passing lane. So we really, like, learn how to play against that, and we're, like, try to prepare for that for tomorrow.
Michael?
To add on top of what these guys said, that's the reason why we schedule those kind of games in November, to be prepared for moments like this when we match up with a team like Michigan, another Big Ten rival. We want to be able to take the things we did in that game. Like Fab said, it was our second game of the season. We're a lot better team. We learned a lot from that. I feel like we're going to be able to take those things and apply them tomorrow pretty well.
Other questions in the front, in the blue here on the aisle?
Vince Bagby with KECI in Missoula. For you guys getting here, was not easy, having to know that you had to win all 3 games in Reno, as opposed to Michigan, who's a team that could get in that large. How much do you think playing pressure basketball the week before this gets you guys ready for this kind of an atmosphere?
Start with Fabian again.
Yeah, I think it helps a lot. It helps us not get caught up in the moment too much. You know, last week we weren't thinking ahead too much. We're thinking, okay, we got a game Thursday, we'll take care of that. And then if things go our way, we'll think about the next one. So just that one game at a time mentality that, you know, try to keep us focused on the game and not try to get caught up too much in the moment and the environment surrounding it. I think that was a big time, and we had that very recently. So yeah, everyone's just focused on the game. We're not getting caught up in the moment too much. So I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, you know, we had 3, you know, tough games that we had to grind out, you know. Coming off the first one, you know, every game we came from behind in, so I think that really gave us like a tough test that we actually needed, you know, going into, you know, March Madness, you know. So that was like the main thing we could take away, is that every game's not going to be easy, you know, and it's March now, so anything can happen. I feel like we had a little bit of luck that we actually needed, you know, because we playing against Northern Colorado is tied up with 1 second ago. They missed both free throws, and we ended up grinding that game out in overtime, and that's the type of things you need in order to win. So I think the luck's been on our side. We're just going to try to just keep that going.
I think winning 3 games in a row in a win-or-go-home tournament was the perfect setup for a game like this. A lot is on the line, just like it was last week. So we know that, you know, we can't afford to make mistakes. We were fortunate enough to come back from behind those games. We know that Thursday is going to be different. A team like Michigan, we're not going to be able to, you know, have a slow start and, you know, expect to be in a great position. So we're going to really have to execute well from the start, and I feel like we're in a good position to do that.
Front row on the right.
Riley Corcoran, Montana Radio. How have you guys been able this week to balance, to enjoy this process, but also prepare yourselves for an opportunity to pull off maybe the biggest win in school history? And what's the support been like from friends and family all week long after you guys were announced?
It's been absolutely incredible this week. You know, we've been working for this opportunity since April last year. Like 2 weeks after the season finished, we had our minds focused on this moment. So we've been looking to this for a long time and putting in work, and to be here is really cool. But as I said, we were in that one game at a time mentality, and the support from everyone in the community, from friends, from family, has been absolutely incredible. And to be in this opportunity, to be on this stage it's once in a lifetime.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Fab. You know, like the support has been like unreal. You know, cheerleaders, the band, just family, just the fans, just everybody in Missoula, just across the country, just been supporting us. You know, and it's been great. Like this week, we got here yesterday. You know, we had a lot of people travel with us, so we definitely know that we have a lot of supporters. So I think the main thing for us is just take what we know and just try to take it into tomorrow into the game.
Yeah, Coach Trapp told us we've earned the right to enjoy this moment we have, and like these guys have said, it's been great. The support from the fans, from the community, from friends, family has been amazing. We have a great travel party. The administrators, the dance team, the band, they're all really excited to be here, just like us. At some point, you know, we're gonna have to, you know, kind of transition over to, okay, we have a game tomorrow to win. Like, it's a lot of fun, yeah, but we're not just here to, you know, have fun. Like, we worked hard, like Fab said, since April, and we're going to try to make the most of our opportunity tomorrow night.
Okay, in the back, on the right side. Right, you, sir. There you go.
Jeff Seidel, Detroit Free Press. For years, Michigan's been known for their offense, but this year they're playing a lot better defense. I wonder what your impressions are of their D, as well as Sampson, the point guard.
Well, yeah, they're one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They're just coming off a great tournament win in the Big Ten. And they're doing that because of their defense, but we've seen some things that we're familiar with. A similar defensive scheme we played for a couple of years, the Pac, and you know, we think we have some things to attack at, and we're going to have to execute really well to be successful tomorrow night. And yeah, Sampson, point guard, from what we've seen, he's a quick athlete, a great finisher around the rim, so it's going to be a big test to try to slow him down, keep him out the paint.
Yeah, Michigan plays, you know, pack line defense, so they try to pack it in and allow you to shoot threes, contested threes at that. That's actually how we played defense last year, so, like, it's something that we've seen before. So we're just going to try to, you know, just get the ball in the spots that we need to get it to. And Sampson, you know, he's a real good point guard. he's real good, finding his teammates, getting in the lane, making plays for others, and then, like Fab said, he can also finish for himself. So we're going to try to just keep him out the paint and then just go from there.
Yeah, my teammates said it best. They play like that pack line defense. We're a little familiar with that. We know that they like to, speed people up, get them out of their rhythm. And for the point guard, Xavier, he's from what I've seen, I like the way he kind of runs the show. He runs his team very well, gets guys the ball in the right in the right places, and like they said too, he's a great finisher. So it's going to be a tough task to slow him down.
In the back, on the right.
Who do they play most like who you have played, if not this year, sometime in your career? Who do you liken them to?
Probably if one team that is similar is like a Weber State type in our conference, at least. I think especially the earlier years where they execute really well, don't make mistakes, don't turn the ball over, very well coached team. And like for a long time, Weber State had a dominant big man in Joel Boy, who I think we've all played against, and he he had that perimeter touch as well, maybe not quite as lethal from outside as Wagner, but that's probably the one team that we've seen year in, year out that can sort of give us something that resembles a Michigan basketball game.
Yeah, I agree with Fab. Probably like Weber, like last year we played against the Oregon team, that kind of denied, in the passing lanes, and they had like good guards and good wings that would just push the ball, try to get the ball up the court and just play fast. But so probably like Weber and Oregon.
Yeah, same. Weber and Oregon. Weber for the reasons Fab mentioned. Oregon as well. They had Boucher, who's a big who can kind of stretch the floor out a little bit. He was also a great rim protector. That was what he did well. But in terms of running their offense, executing, patience, that's a lot of similarities I've seen with Michigan. And I know Michigan plays. They play at their own pace. They have long possessions, and they don't really turn the ball over very much. So we're gonna have to do a good job of speeding them up, getting them out of what they like to do.
Stay on the left side of the aisle.
This is for Ahmad. For you, being the only guy on the team with NCAA tournament experience at Oregon, is there anything you've been able to pass along to the other players, or any sort of experiences you've been able to share?
Yeah, the environment is going to be real hostile tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of fans, especially Michigan fans here, just rooting for them. We're going to have some fans because, like I said, we're the underdogs. So, but we just got to just stay poised, stick with our game plan. Coach Trav and the other coaches do a good job of just trying to just give us a specific game plan. And so if we just stick to that, I feel like we'll be fine. But we played Penn State, Pitt, and they had, big crowds. So it's not like it's something that we're not used to. So as long as we just stick with our game plan and, just play how we were playing these last couple of months, and I feel like we'll be fine.
Got time for a couple more questions. Front row in the blue.
For you guys, that game against Eastern in the Big Sky title, that second half, you had 18 stops and 19 possessions on defense. Do you feel like you're playing your best defense of the year right now? And would you say that's an identity of this team as a priority to play defense?
100%. We pride ourselves on defense, and I think that's how it's been every year I've been here with Coach Trav. And we always look out throughout the season what our defensive record is, what our statistics are in the conference, and it is the identity of this team. We work on that. As I said, when people are working on their skills and stuff in April, we're working on our defense and our defensive schemes and how we can get better at stuff from there. And it's how we win games. Even when our offense isn't firing at 100%, we have our defense to rely on. And that second half kind of exemplified that, and we just made life miserable for Easton and their perimeter plays in terms of bringing up the court and being comfortable. And I think for us to have any sort of success, we're going to have to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Coming off of that half, I feel like that was probably our best half of the season as far as defense goes. Like you said, 18 stops and 19 possessions. But it's just like Trav said, just compete with desperation. That's been like our motto like the whole year. So we knew that if we didn't do that, we weren't going to win that game. So we've been just trying to just stick with that, scheme, just competing with desperation.
I think that we're playing our best defense of the year. There was a point during conference where, we kind of slipped up a little bit, and Coach DeCuire pulled up some film of how we were playing defense in December. We had a good stretch, and I feel like that did a good job of, reminding us of where we can be defensively. So that was a good little wake-up call for us, and I feel like it translated well. We played great defense, like you said, last game, 18 stops out of 19 possessions. That's definitely something we hang our hat on. Like Fab said, we put a lot of work in our defensive schemes. We really just take pride in it. When our offense isn't clicking very well, we know that we can rely on our defense to keep us in the game, and eventually our offense will start working for us. So it's worked out pretty well.
Time for one final question. Back up front.
Just for you guys, what's the message from Coach Ben as far as enjoying yourselves, knowing that you've earned a right here, and of course, obviously focusing on a business trip and trying to get a win? Do you get to at least enjoy the experience a little bit while still being able to stay focused?
It's something that we've been told is this game is the same as every other we've gone into this year, and that we expect to walk out with a win, and nothing's changed. We need to have the right mentality to do that. Obviously, this is going to be a big test against a bigger school that we're probably used to playing, but every game, the same message is we expect to win, and to do that, we need to execute the game plan that the coaches put out for us and do it to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, Coach Travis definitely, told us that we definitely deserve to be here and just enjoy it, but it definitely, like Fab said, we are here to get a win, so we're trying to do anything we could do to get the win. Practice has still been tough, and, we're still focused. Like, guys staying focused. We're getting good rest, good recovery, so, nothing has really changed.
Yeah, just on top of what these guys said, nothing's really changed. We're here, obviously, to enjoy ourselves. We've earned the right to be here. This is just to make it to this tournament is a huge accomplishment in and of itself, being from a one-bid league. And then now it's our time to represent our conference. So we're gonna have to come out, like Fab said, every game we expect to come out victorious. That's why we game plan. That's why we practice. We scout. We do everything we can to prepare ourselves for the game. So I feel like today's kind of the last day. We'll have the open practice. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna enjoy it. But once we get back to the hotel, our mood is really gonna shift to Michigan and trying to do everything we can to be successful.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We have Coach DeCuire up here shortly. Thank you.
Thank you.
This time, we're pleased to have with us head coach of Montana, Travis DeCuire, the Grizzlies, the number 14 seed in the West Region, Big Sky Conference champs, record of 26-7. This is their first NCAA tournament appearance since 2013. Coach, welcome to Wichita, and let's assess scouting report on Michigan.
Phenomenal basketball team. I'm reading right here. It says, please speak up. I'm trying my best. My voice has been gone for about a month, so please bear with me. Tough matchup. Very experienced team, experienced program. Anytime you're up against a program that expects to be in the NCAA tournament every year, you're going to have a tough task. Take care of the ball, shoot the ball, defend. That's pretty much the scenario in winning, and they do it about as well as anyone in the country. We look forward to this opportunity. Our defense is what got us here. We turn people over. We out-rebound people. and then we execute offensively as well. We've got some guys that can put the ball in the basket, great depth, versatility. So we look forward to every opportunity we have to find ways to create our own advantages. And if we can keep ourselves in the game early, gain some confidence as the game progresses, the key for us is just find ways to change that assist-to-turnover ratio for them and win the glass. If we can do that, I think we have a chance.
Okay, at this time, we're opening up for questions. Please raise your hand, and we'll have a microphone holder over your way. Again, no flash photography is allowed or recording of any kind, including cell phone and tablet. Okay, in the front in the blue here. First question.
Coach, that second half against Eastern, that defensive, just entire half, is that about the best defense you've played this year, and do you guys feel the momentum from that heading into the tournament?
Yes. We've had moments, second half at Georgia State, second half in the Legends Classic against Santa Barbara, and then it kind of carried over from there. In December, we pretty much played like that almost every game with the 3 wins at home and then to go to University of Washington and go down the stretch and come close to a victory there. So it became a habit in December. And you learn better from losses than wins, and we had a streak of wins, and I think that the consistency faded a little bit, and it took a couple losses for us to get it back. Unfortunately for us, we found our mojo at the end of February, early March, and here we are. When we needed it most, it performed for us. And so we look forward to have an opportunity to go out and showcase what we've done defensively all year on a national stage.
In the front row here, in the gray, right in the middle.
Coach, you've said multiple times this year this is probably your favorite group you've been able to coach. What factors make this team different than any other team you've had?
I love every group I've ever coached. So, I don't want that to be taken wrong. But there's a relationship that you build, a bond that you have with each team. And this is a group that I've had the longest of any. And so there's some heartfelt relationships that we have, and when you're battle tested together after recruiting a group and going to war with a group, you kind of fall in love with them, and I think what separates them from what I've had in the past is the chip that these guys carry on their shoulders individually and collectively. We've got a group of young men that were either recruited at a higher level or believe that they should have been recruited at a higher level. And every opportunity they've had to prove that, they've risen to that occasion. Whether it was at Pitt, Stanford, Washington, Penn State, we've had guys step up and play to that level. And we're just waiting for that opportunity to have all of those guys do it on the same night.
In the back on the aisle, in the gray.
Hey, Coach, Matt Craig from The Athletic. I know your mantra all season is compete with desperation. I guess, for lack of a better way of saying this, who's the most desperate player on the team? Or is there one player that really embodies that mantra?
That's a tough one. You asked me to pick a favorite player. I can't do that. But the guy that probably exemplifies what we stand for in that regard is probably Michael Guinea. He plays, his motor is revved up at a very high level on both sides of the ball. And that's typically what we're talking about when we talk about competing with desperation, is a guy that plays full speed as hard as he can for 40 minutes. And Mike is probably the closest to that of anyone on our team.
In the back, in the yellow on the aisle.
Coach, when you watch the film of Michigan, what jumps out at you more, their offensive ability or their defensive ability, and why?
To the common eye, the offense always stands out the most because you see the ball go through the net. You see the deep threes and things like that. But I think their defense frustrates you into bad shots. And then your turnovers becomes extra possessions for them. And a team that's as efficient as them offensively, you can't afford to give them extra possessions. You'll never get yourself out of a hole. So I think the turnovers that they force, the bad shots that they force, a lot of things that they do don't show up on the stat sheet. So the games I've watched, I see guys settle for just okay shots, not great shots, 30% shots. And if you have enough will inside of you to move the ball, make them work around, space them, and get the best shot you can get every possession, then you'll give yourself an opportunity to win. But not very many teams have done that.
Other questions for the coach? Still have about 5 minutes here. Gonna stay back there.
Just as a follow-up, what makes you believe your team has that patience and that will to do exactly what you just said?
Am I giving you a scouting report? I'm just saying you got Michigan on. I'm joking. I'm joking. Our schedule. You know, we've scheduled the best competition we can every year in November, December. And I think our conference is as strong as it's been in 20 years. And so I think when you play against a high-level competition and you play against a ton of different styles, defensively, offensively, you're forced to make changes through the course of the game. So you prepare for one style on a Thursday, on a Saturday you prepare for another. And through our schedule, we've played similar basketball teams, similar defensively and more so offensively in terms of their offense. And so the terminologies, the plan, the things that we've discussed with our team for the last 3 days aren't new. And the patience is something that you fight for. It becomes your culture. Either you have it or you don't. And as a staff, we fought for that all year. We have guys that can score. And so it's very difficult to get a guy who can score 18 to 20 a game to turn down a shot for a better shot. So there will be nothing that we ask our team to do tomorrow night that we haven't asked them to do all year, and that's why I believe we can get it done. I'm not guaranteeing it. I just believe.
Front row in the blue here.
Coach, as opposed to Michigan, you've played winner-go-home basketball all last week in Reno, as opposed to a conference, you know, that gets at-larges and teams like Michigan. How is that a positive for you guys, the games you had to grind out there, and then you head right here and you have to do the same thing?
I think it's our culture. We've played every game. For 33 games, it's been winner go home. Every time I'm in the locker room, every practice, every prep, every film session, we've treated it like an NCAA tournament game. So that when we got here, this wouldn't be any different than the other 33 games we've played. I didn't want to get here and then say, okay, now we got to play better. No, our conversation is just play the way we played for 33 games. Our defense will be the same. Our offense will be the same. I want the same guys to get the same shots they've been shooting all year long. And we just got to believe and stick together and fight. And whoever the hot hand is, that's who gets the ball.
One final question at all?
Thank you.
If not, thank you very much,
Go
Coach.
Grizz.
Best of luck tomorrow. At this time, will our microphone holders come up and